Hey everyone! Today I want to tell you about my professional swimming career. It's a question I get asked a lot. It's quite a long story, so I thought that a YouTube video would do better at having to tell it to the world and to people who ask. There's still a lot of questions I get all the time, and I think maybe I don't have the answer to all of them in this video, so I'll try my best to address everything, but I'm gonna kind of build it with a storyline of when it started and how it was going. Yeah, how it kind of ended / what it is now. When I was really young, my mom and dad just tossed me into the pool in Nepal. I swam there all the time just as a child, couldn't get me out of the water. Culture of competitive swimming and racing and being part of a team while you're really young is actually pretty uncommon in Nepal. On the age of like 8 to 10, I started swimming a little bit more in terms of involving myself more in the PE classes that were offered for me at school. So I swam a lot with my friends. It wasn't like competitive training, I would say, but we did swim laps and we had to learn technique and how to breathe with the water and all these kind of things. My school in Nepal links with a lot of other international schools in the area, like in India, Bangladesh, Jordan, all over Southeast Asia, and it's called SAISA. And you train on a team to compete against the other schools. It actually does include swimming, and that's kind of where this competitive swimming thing started. I wasn't ready to travel then because I was kind of like, oh, I hate swimming so much. And you can even ask my coach Luke, like I fought with him a lot on swimming backstroke and I hated it and he scared me, but now that's all gone. In 8th grade, something switched in me. Maybe I just hated all the boys in my class. Sorry to you guys watching, but you guys were so mean. I think it just gave me something that was my own. I'm a very competitive person. I kind of put that into swimming instead, as well as school. I wanted to train. I wanted to qualify for my first national meet in Nepal because I have Nepalese citizenship. So my dad is Nepalese. I was given a Nepalese passport at birth. I could race for Nepal if I had the choice and wanted to and could qualify. So that was the next goal. I was doing very well at SAISA. I was winning a lot of medals, setting a lot of school records. We won the first women's swimming championship for my school with a very small team, but we still did it because we were so damn good. Changed that whole scene of swimming there and to start going a little bit bigger than SAISA. Started to swim at the national games in Nepal. The qualifying process for national games in Nepal is not that complicated. You either need a club or some kind of affiliation like army or police to participate in these open games, so it wasn't too hard to come along with that. I qualified for my first international meet, which was the Barcelona World Championships in 2013. I was 15 back then, or I just turned 15 when I got to Barcelona. So I was actually 14 when I qualified for it. So that's pretty crazy. Did pretty well in Barcelona, but I was such a noob. Like, don't look at my times, they are super trash. First meet that set me off into the next level. I was like here, I think, of a level, and then I went to Barcelona and it introduced me to like this level. And I needed to catch up. I had no infrastructure compared to what the American teams had or the Australian teams had. We had access to swimming pools like 5 months of the year, and I didn't think back then that that was a difference, but it's a difference. It's a big difference. Training really took off. I was so insanely motivated to change the reputation of swimming in Nepal, to better myself. I trained as much as I could. I would hop into the 15 degrees Celsius water in Nepal in the winter, but then that's when I got introduced to Thanyapura training facility in Phuket, Thailand. Phuket, you know, has very warm weather. You can train all year round. For me, was the game changer. I didn't realize how important it was to train all year round in the water. I was doing a lot of outside of the water as well. It really impacted my speed, I would say. I think most people would agree with me. Facilities in Nepal, it's getting better, but it is not great. That is definitely a huge limiting factor when it comes to swimming in Nepal. Every break I got, I was just going to Thailand all the time. I even finished half of my senior year online in Thailand because I needed to train for the next World Champs that were going to qualify me for the Olympics in 2016. So I get to Thailand and I get my booty kicked. I've been training at a level that I thought was like here. That level in Nepal is actually down here in terms of the world scale of training. So I get to Thailand and the training's like, it's like up here, you know? And so I'm just dying for a few months. But it did help me a lot and I progressed insanely quickly. The learning curve and the speed curve was just crazy. Like, I don't even want to look at my times before 2014. Please do not. Or the mindset of, okay, now I'm in this, now I'm a professional swimmer, and now this is who I am. Like in 2015, my senior year of high school, Kathmandu, Nepal was hit with a really strong earthquake. It was a magnitude of 8.2. Unfortunately, I lost my aunt as well. And Nepal, the death total was like 12,000 in the end. One of the most terrifying experiences of my life. It seriously flipped my world 180. Changed a lot about how I see the world. At the time, I was really focused on swimming and suddenly that identity of being a swimmer was pushed to the side because of the life or death situation. I couldn't leave. It was tough. I lived in a tent for around 4 weeks. It was a very tough time to be like, oh, I need to qualify for the world champs, but I'm gonna also have to survive an earthquake in a country that has zero infrastructure or support for it. I heard and was offered a FINA scholarship and an Olympic Solidarity scholarship to train at Thanyapura in Thailand for the next year to qualify for the Olympic Games in Rio. Of course, I was like, okay, now I have to defer from college to train for the Olympics for a year, and I'm not sure if I'll actually make it to the Olympics. Is it worth stopping a year of school, going all in on qualifying for the Olympics? I decided it was, obviously, duh. So I deferred from college. This is probably the most amazing experience that one could be offered as an athlete, to train for the Olympic Games and be offered these scholarships. So I said yes. I had the most amazing year of my life in Thanyapura. It was outstanding, training was amazing, team culture was great. Miguel is one of the greatest people I've ever met in my entire life. He just completely changed how I felt about being a professional athlete. We trained, we raced, we competed, we tried to qualify. I was neck and neck with Gorika Singh, who actually ended up going to the Olympics in 2016, and she did a great job. And she represented Nepal really well, set a new national record in the 100-meter backstroke, and crushed it in Rio. Really great job. But of course for me, it was really disappointing. Nepal can only send one female and one male. Though I did have higher FINA points than the male, still have to send him instead. That is what it is, politics, life. That knocked me down quite low. Was not treated so nicely from my federation side, and it was really tough. The year after the Olympics, I did my first year at William and Mary in Virginia. It completely sucked because I was super depressed. Was probably facing a post-Olympic depression, post-training depression of not qualifying. I didn't go to the Olympics, but it felt like something was just like ripped out of me. And that is something is probably gonna happen in a lot of professional athletes' careers. We all can't be number one, right? That was a dark time for me, and that year at William & Mary was absolutely terrible in my head. I was not doing okay. That summer, of 2017, I managed to qualify for my third World Championships, which was in Budapest. So my first one, Barcelona 2013, 2015 World Champs in Russia. I did manage to qualify for that, even after the earthquake. And then 2017, I qualified with that through a huge wave of depression. I swam terribly at the one in Budapest as well. Don't even want to talk about that. Not a good time for me. But I decided that I could not go back to school because I was not in a good spot in my life to be doing things like that halfway across the world. At that point, I went to stay with a coach of mine in Australia. It helped me a lot realizing the depths of my depression. Really discovered the power of therapy. Said, now I want to study psychology, and I'm gonna find a program somewhere that's gonna help me do that. I talked to the college counselor at my school in Nepal. He actually helped me find Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, that had a Division I swimming program as well as a really good psychology program. That is where my life changed after this whole dip in depression. My first semester at Pepperdine, I was still deciding on what I wanted to do with swimming, so I kind of just explored school more and swam on my own. But then it turned out sophomore year roommate Kayla was on the swim team, nudged me into the direction of becoming or joining the team, and she was really helpful with getting me to talk to the coach and everything like that. I joined the team at Pepperdine, and it was some of the greatest years of my life of swimming. The system in the US just changed my perspective of need to be tied to this international thing. I can just do college swimming and then think about the international thing later. Swimming really well in college. Okay, I think I'm ready to go back to international stage. So I managed to qualify for the 2019 World Championships in Gwangju, Korea. That was fantastic. I think I did really great. I had a blast. It was my brother's first World Championship, so we got to go together. I don't think a lot of siblings can say like, hey, we've been to the World Championships together. Into this new international experience, like, I can try to qualify for the Olympics and I probably have a good shot, but I didn't really want to expect much. Nepal's a little tricky. That's all I gotta say. I didn't qualify for I qualified for the 2020 Olympics. I would say that I am a qualifier in terms of Nepal because I was always the second choice for each Olympic Games that I've tried to qualify for. So I think I have qualified, but I just didn't get to go. That's pretty crappy as well. America as well got to go for the 2021, that one. And she also did really well, and kudos to her. She's a really great swimmer, and I'm super jealous of her being able to grow up in the UK and have all those training facilities. I would have killed to have something like that growing up, and that is super great for her to represent our country like that. Corona sucks booty hole. I swam really well my senior year of college at Pepperdine, and I was like, oh my god, I actually have one more year of eligibility. I'm gonna do my master's degree at Pepperdine and stay an extra year and use my NCAA eligibility to swim and train and possibly go to the next Olympics. Like, that was the plan. But then Corona hit and I had no access to a swimming pool for 8 months. I was living at Pepperdine during Corona with walking by the pool every day, but I couldn't go in it. A lot of swimmers probably relate to that. Well, I went back down into my hole of, wow, swimming is ruining my life and I don't know who I am anymore. And I think a lot of the swimmers could probably attest to that. It's probably post-collegiate depression rather than Olympic depression, and then a whole Corona thing jumbled into it. So then I said, bye-bye America, I'm gonna go to Denmark and do the Danish thing. I don't know where else to go. Nepal was just not mentally the place I wanted to be. So I moved to Denmark in May of 2020 after living with my friend Juju. Shout out Juju. Went to Denmark, spent a lot of the summer with my cousins and my family. I met my boyfriend. Yeah, now I'm living with him, so that's super cool. Testing myself on swimming. I joined Gentofte Swimming Club. They also helped my brother a lot to get to his Olympic qualifying. I went to the Olympics, by the way, in 2020. He went with Gorica. It was amazing. I was crying the whole time. A different spot in my head of what I wanted to do with swimming and what they could offer me at the time. Stopped a little bit and I started to explore a little bit more different options of what I could do with swimming. So I found a club at HSK, Holsten Swimming Club. I can't pronounce it. It's super tough. Danish is tough. I found a team that's called this Elite Sprint. That team has changed my life. All of us have come from a spot where we didn't really know what swimming is. We still want to work hard, but we need that step back and that relief of pressure. Coach Pedro is from Portugal. We have so much fun. The kind of relationship I need with swimming right now, because reestablish this passion to be like, oh, I actually want to be at practice rather than feeling like I'm forced to be there. That is something that I've had to work on a lot. That's where I am now with swimming. I'm really grateful, at least, to have a team and to have people that show up and know you and care and have this common bond of swimming. Now I'm at a very healthy place with it, and now I'm also a TikToker here in Denmark. I hope to motivate and inspire more kids here to swim and to keep swimming. I absolutely love swimming now. Crazy to be like, oh yeah, I've swam at 6 world championships in my life and I'm swimming on a little semi-masters team in little Denmark. I love it. I feel normal again in the pool, cared for and valued as a team member. It's not something that I was finding easily in some other places. that's my story on swimming and where I am now. Of course, I would love to answer any specific questions you might have about swimming, about my career, about any other hardships I might have faced. There are certain things I can't discuss yet. XOXO Gossip Girl. No, I'm kidding. I hope that this is more to just inspire. It's not easy being a professional athlete and going through all these swings of people believing in you or you not believing in yourself. It seems to be a really big limiting factor in my career, of me not having much belief in myself and fighting for myself when I needed to. It's okay to explain my whole raw side of swimming, because I feel like a lot of people just like to see the pictures of, oh my God, they're at the world champs. And I'm like, yeah, I love that, but there's so many tears behind this one. And really tough. And I think that's why I've had a very hard time talking about it in general on TikTok. But I think it's time. And I am ready to clarify more questions if you have any. But yeah, thanks for listening to my TED Talk.